Hello everyone, how's it going? This video is going to be an odd one. I tend to not make videos about EU4 that are not gameplay related, but this is an exception. There is a possibility of a huge change coming in for EU4 players, even potentially all Paradox Games players. Yesterday, Paradox made this cryptic post on the forums about a new version, 1.29.4. All the post said was that this patch will seemingly do nothing for you except change the version number and checksum. We thought we should explain what's going on. We are running a few experiments aimed at reducing the threshold for new players to access the full EU4 experience. We are approaching this in a data-driven way, somewhat related to what we did in CK2 a few years back, which means that we cannot fully disclose how exactly it will look, as that will interfere with the test. What we can say is that it's fully and completely optional and does not require you to interact with it in any way. We hope that these experiments do not negatively impact your game experience, but since updates have the potential to cause unforeseen effects, it is important that you know what is happening. So obviously there was intrigue and confusion from EU4 players after seeing that post, because frankly it doesn't tell us anything. All we know is that they're running some experiments and that's it. Then, not surprisingly, people started asking more questions about it, and the dev response was, there are no gameplay changes. I'd be very surprised and confused if there was a drop in performance. It shouldn't have any effect on save games or mods. People asked if this was some telemetry stuff and if they're just collecting some data on some aspect of game usage, to which the response was, it's not telemetry stuff. We are going to test some stuff, but test results are not reliable if people know exactly what the test is. I'm sorry, I cannot be more clear what it's all about. The patch is so small that we wouldn't even have mentioned it if it wasn't for the fact that since version number and checksum changed, we had to tell you something happened. For most of you, this should have absolutely no impact whatsoever. And the posts go on, people asking the same questions and Paradox basically saying, the testing is not taking place in the game at all. We just had to add a small thing to the game to support it, unfortunately. And well, you can read all the responses in the post. I'll leave a link in description. Fairly soon after the post went up, some young one figured out what the change was, which wasn't surprising really. You're telling a group of gamers that some change was made to the game files, of course someone will figure out what the changes are. In the EU4 localization folder, there was a new file called subscription, and it has a bunch of text about a subscription service. Gain access to all DLC ever released for a monthly payment, all major expansions, more than 40 content packs including new units, models, all music packs, unique unit model available only as a bonus for subscription. So, Paradox was trying to test the people's reaction to a subscription service, and they confirmed it after seeing people react to the discovery of this information, saying, yes, we want to test a subscription model for EU4. No, we are not replacing the current model or changing how anything works now. We are simply adding another option. The cost of such a service is one of the things we want to decide based on the test. In hindsight, we might have been a little more open about this process. We know as our longtime fans, this model may not be aimed at you. We wanted to try and gather data from people who encountered this new idea without prior bias or discussion. That's pretty much all there is to it at this point. A limited group of people will be receiving this offer, and it's entirely up to these people whether or not they want to jump in on the offer or not. So, the idea was to offer some players a subscription service and see if they bite or not. Some people on the forums were rightfully angry that the devs should be upfront about these changes and this experiment was ill-designed, while some other people were irrationally angry, and well, those are the ones who are always irrationally angry, so we won't talk about them. But I do believe this was mishandled. There was no reason to hide it from the players, or at least there should have been an attempt to hide it better maybe? Anyways, it's all a bit weird. The point is, Paradox is exploring the possibility of a subscription service for EU4. This is a massive and fundamental change, and anyone who has been a part of the EU4 community should think hard about this. It's usually a cause for concern when a company changes the monetization models for a game. We have been burned by it in the past from other companies, from all the loot boxes and microtransactions and whatnot, and rightfully we are wary of this change. But rather than screaming bloody murder at the devs, I'm going to behave like an adult, analyze the situation and figure out the pros and cons. The one big positive from subscription service is that it will lower the barrier to entry for new players. The Paradox DLC outrage has been well and alive for the past few years, and it's not without merit. If you're asking a new player to spend over $200 on a game they haven't even played, you have a problem, because that price point is going to drive a majority of new users away. Yes, the base game is cheaper, but we all know there are some absolutely essential DLCs we need to really enjoy the game. The subscription service will solve this issue. Now you're just asking, say, $10 a month from a new player to enjoy the game. Spend $10, play the game. If you don't like it, cancel the subscription. So the subscription service makes sense. Also, we will have the option to buy the DLCs individually if we don't want to pay the subscription fee. Since a new customer is worth more than an existing one, all this makes sense from a business perspective. However, the DLC discussion has been going on for a while, and people have suggested a number of different ways to make the model more friendly to the player base. There could be more DLC bundles so people can buy them at discount. Some of the older core game mechanics that are behind a DLC paywall should be integrated into the base game, such as asking for support for independence or the macro builder. The older DLCs shouldn't cost the same as new DLCs. There should be a permanent price cut on older ones. Maybe even make the base game free. It seems to be working out for Seek It too. So while the subscription service makes sense, there have been other options for price models. That all said, of course we don't know the economic realities behind what's going on in the EU4 development. Any continued development for a 7-year-old game is going to take significant financial support, and we haven't seen a new DLC since December 2018 now, which was over a year ago. This lack of DLCs was one of my reasons to think that EU4 development might be coming to an end, which I said in my 1.29 update video. The subscription service will solve that problem, but I think we might still be in the twilight period of EU4. I think the new subscription service might be used in EU5, but that is just me speculating. Personally, I think the subscription service is a fine idea if it means continued development of a game we all love. It would definitely bring a ton of new players to the game, which is a great thing. One problem with changing the pricing model in an existing game is that it leaves the players like me in limbo, where I'm not sure if buying the new subscription service is a good idea, or would I save more money just buying the DLCs, because we don't know how many DLCs are coming in future. If there are more years like 2019 with no DLCs, the subscription fee is a waste of money for people who already own most DLCs. The other big point is the subscription fee itself. I honestly don't know what would be a good price point here. Maybe $5 or $10 a month? I mean, I've been using Xbox Game Pass for PC lately, and their price point is great, but they do offer a ton of games. So in my opinion, the best thing would be if Paradox can figure out a way to monetize the subscription service for all Paradox Development Studio games. I would happily pay, say, $20 per month to access all PDX games and DLCs. This would also alleviate some anxiety with players thinking, would we see a monetization change in other PDX titles? If I see subscription fee introduced in EU4, should I wait for Imperator to go the subscription way as well, rather than just buying the next DLC when it comes out? We will see what the devs decide to do, and I'll update you guys when that happens. You can also join my Discord server where these discussions happen in real time. All links in description. I would love to hear what you guys think about the subscription service, and I'm sure Paradox product team will be keeping an eye on this video as well. So leave your comments down below and let me know your thoughts. And please, let's save the irrational rants for other places and try to keep the discussion civil. Thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to reading all your replies, and I'll see you all in the next one.